Hello everyone. How are we all doing? I'm Wardy, and this is the SC2 Improved Team League America. We're getting into IvD gaming against Solaris gaming here today. Both teams last week had a pretty sick start to their season as they went 4-0 in their respective matches. And one of them's definitely going to lose here today as they go up ahead against each other. One of the matches here, I feel, which will probably determine final play. I mean, it's only the second week, but these two teams are really very popular. You know, a lot of people really think they're going to make it to the playoffs, and it could be this one match here which can define, you know, which team moves through in first and which team comes through in second. So if our players are ready here, we're just going to jump straight on into this series. I'll just ask if they are ready. You know, we're talking a little bit about scores. Why don't we very quickly look at the scores from last week as the countdown begins here in our first game, which will be Jon Snow versus Apocalypse for TVZ on Overgrowth. So these are scores so far. So, you know, I wouldn't say too many upsets here. Root took their first series. They beat Microgamers. They beat Miraculous Gaming. Microgamers actually lost to Rip Z's, which I think was the biggest upset. No Dice took the win against Chaos Latin Gamers. Gravity beat Integrity. And over in Group B, which is the group which we're interested in today, as I've already mentioned, IvD with a 4-0, Solaris with a 4-0, Ascension had a 4-0 as well, which means the teams which took losses are all on 0-4, apart from Dust Gaming, who took a 4-2 over IF. So those are our grids here to start us off, and the current standings of SC2ITL America. If you want to know more about it, type !bracket in the chat, you'll get taken to the Wikipedia, and it's maybe a little bit easier to read there to see exactly where teams are. Not too much interesting though. So we're about to jump into this first game. It's TVZ on Overgrowth, but before we do, a big shout out to our sponsors for today. Let's Kung Fu at youtube.com/filthyrake and Zawigear at zawigear.com, both essential to making this league be what is already to be as successful as it already has been. So shout out to them, and we'll talk a little bit more about them throughout the evening as we're about to jump into the game. So I'm Wardy, guys. It's SC2ITL America, and to start things off from IvD Gaming, we have a red Terran player in the upper right hand corner of Overgrowth, Apocalypse. Really strong starter here for IvD. The Korean Terran player has been on their team for a long time now. He made it to round of 16, I think, in a WCS America somewhere along the way. You know, now that I say that, I suddenly question myself, but I'm almost sure that he has been fairly successful in WCS at some point. He's definitely had some results, right? So last year he made round of 16 of WCS America. And this year, in fact, he made it to the quarterfinals of Aces ROG. That's the tournament I was actually thinking about, if I'm going to be honest here, the Aces ROG, where he made the quarterfinals, which was a shock, maybe. I mean, it's just kind of very rare we actually see him participate in any tournaments, so realistically. So I guess that's maybe why we didn't expect to see him do so well. Anyway, let's introduce our other player on the map, the Blue Zerg player from Solaris Gaming. It's going to be Jon Snow here in the lower left-hand corner. So we're off to a pretty standard start. We're having a Reaper opening from our Terra and a hatchery into a pool from our Zerg, and the only question that remains to be answered for now is, will our Zerg player take a gas, or will he play gasless to start things off here? So that's what we're going to be looking for in the early parts of this game, as Apocalypse will come along and make us a command center on the low ground. It seems first Reaper about to finish up and heading across the map. So Apocalypse, does he go for third Reaper, or does he just go for factory after this? I guess that's something else we can be looking at. Depends how aggressive he really wants to be here. But this first Reaper already heading across the map and looking to just pop on into this main base, get a little bit of scouting, and he will see that in fact that Jon Snow is yet to take a gas in his main base. So this is pretty nice information. It gives him a lot of info about, you know, what's up, what's going on. And this Reaper will get attacked by these zones, but he can kite and just get a nice little bit of early damage done here. The first Queen's about to pop out, and of course this does end this initial Reaper harassment. There's the factory, reactor about to come down, so just the 2 Reapers, couple of things heading across the map, and this Reaper completely misses this, and this is absolutely huge. This is going to be a huge delay on this command center. The second Reaper about to join up with the first one in the main, which has a single kill here, just a Zergling. And things are about to get very dangerous as he's all the way in this main base still, and these 2 Zerglings coming in again. This is going to delay this command center on the low ground for quite some time. This SCV gets a little bit lucky, but now it does die. At the same time though, we've got Reapers attacking here on this drone line. That's 1 worker killed. Queen's coming in to help defend this. They're not heading back home yet, which is kind of worrying because, I mean, again, he has nothing over here to really deflect this. He's starting up 1 single Hellion now and a couple of Reapers actually, so a couple more Reapers coming out. Which is different, definitely. To go up to 4 Reapers at all is very, very intriguing, and these Reapers get a couple more workers kills in the natural. Whoa, they actually got 5 worker kills, alright, so, I mean, I guess in the end here, this has been kind of even. I mean, this command center has been denied a long time, but you don't usually get 5 worker kills to begin with, so to get 5 worker kills here, I think, for Apocalypse is pretty awesome. Some more Reapers coming out, so again, he's going to be looking for more worker kills. He just now transfers this factory onto this reactor, so the Hellion numbers are about to begin boosting on up. But I mean, yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, the Hellions are still a bit late because he made that single Hellion first, and I mean, altogether here, the builds from either player are going to be a little bit skew. If no third base from Jon Snow, but we do see double gas down for him at the natural. These Reapers coming in, he's going to be like, well, what is this? I mean, 4 Reapers, really? And he's going to go after the Hellion, which would be the best choice here. Can't self-heal, and does just keep the Hellion alive. Does Apocalypse. He's actually going to send that home to get repaired, most likely. Keep the map control with these Reapers, and Jon Snow is still just pushing his creep out, not yet happy to take that third base. Takes a double evolution chamber. So you will look to just get his upgrades going for later in this game. Hellion's starting to pour out here for Apocalypse. Only a couple though. There's a couple more, so I guess 5 in total. Now he's going straight into mine production with Rotron and a lair for Jon Snow. So, no, I mean, we're going to see what upgrades he gets from his evolution chambers, but we're not really sure just yet, you know, what exactly is he going for. If he goes missile attacks, then he's going for some kind of roach timing. Otherwise this, and he is, so it looks as though he's going to go play this roach style here early in this game. And the engineering bay is about to start coming down for Apocalypse. He has just scanned and he sees this lair on the way. I mean, he knows there's no third base because he's been checking around with these units from early on in the game. If again, one of these Hellions back at home, a little bit of a gap in this wall as well. Hopefully he does notice this. And he's starting to walk the mines across the map here, so what he's most likely looking to do is just force a delay on these bases, on this third base, which Jon Snow is going to attempt to take most likely in the very near future. First few roaches starting to come out here, and I mean, Apocalypse can't really tell exactly what these are for just yet. As a scan comes down, he's going to get a lot of this creep, and again, these roaches are a little bit late to just defend this here initially, so that's a bit painful. He sees the double Evo chamber again. He hasn't seen any Zerglings, which is probably interesting to him, and he may be able to make the read just from that alone. As these Hellions do come along here, the roach is popping out now as well. And these units will be turned away. Third base going and dropping down here for Apocalypse. And I mean, third base landed and starting to mine for Apocalypse before Jon Snow even has his third base started. This is slightly troublesome for the Zerg player. I mean, it's not usually the way you see things going. This drone is in position now to start this. As we see Reapers going up against these roaches. Not many losses, in fact no losses are all being taken by Apocalypse just yet. He sees the roach numbers starting to increase, and he's going to add on more marauders into this, but most importantly some bunkers as well, so he is actually well defended, I feel. He may lose these upgrades, which could be very detrimental to his overall long-term game, but he's going to be playing with such a more efficient composition, providing he doesn't take too much damage here early on, as Jon Snow does start to creep with his third base a little bit too late though. Units still on this tower, they're going to leave, and they could come around for maybe a bit of a back you know, sneak in the back and try and do some damage in these mineral lines. These roaches are going to go to this third base first, force the lift. SCV is already pulled here by Apocalypse. He's taking this very, very seriously. Does not want to die to this right now. 1-1 finished for our Zerg player. Adds on Hydrogen too. So he will look to just transition out of this into 2-2, etc. Reinforcing roaches will deal with these Hellions and Reapers, and they do start to go down here. This is the problem. I mean, a tank comes out, but we actually see an upgrade go down, and guess what? It's +1 attack, and that is definitely the most important upgrade of the 2 upgrades here for Terran players. So a pretty big loss here to begin with for IvD's Apocalypse. He's going to lose that +1 attack as 2-2 starts up for our Zerg player. This is going to be a nice upgrade lead for our Zerg to roll with for a little while. He will continue to play Roach Hydra here, which of course does have its weaknesses. Something we're going to want to see the Terran player do is really try and abuse the drops. And this overlord in the end has actually been useful, as Apocalypse takes a little while to clean this out. So drops are the major thing here, and you know, it's a lot of this game is going to come down to how much damage can the drops do while Jon Snow's out on the map being aggressive. How much can the drops keep him back from doing any damage until the Terran player is ready to take a fight? And you know, what kind of, you know, in general, the answer from Jon Snow will be, well, I can't stop you from dropping, but I can stop how effective your drops are going to be, you know, and that could be done by just leaving a few units behind here and there. Not the most effective. Most effective would probably be static defense coupled with a couple units here and there. So we'll see what he does decide to do. I mean, right now he's got absolutely nothing, as already a double drop heads down his bottom right hand side of the map, which does mean there's not too much actually here for Apocalypse, but two well-placed tanks will deny the majority of these roaches. Drop is going to unload now, and this could very well be a dead fed base because there's just not that many units here at all right now. You can see Jon Snow immediately starting to pull back. Apocalypse isn't going to get too cocky with this though. He's not going to just try and target down the hatchery. He's going for the drones first, going for what is guaranteed damage, not going for something which, you know, may pay off or may not pay off depending on how close reinforcements are. And he does some pretty decent damage before this is turned away. One of them medevacts gets a little bit low but keeps them alive. And again, I feel like this is good damage done so far by Apocalypse. He's continuing to add to these workers killed. And he's stabilizing at home as well for pretty nice composition. As this tank count rises, Roach Hydra armies become weaker and weaker and weaker. 2-2's about to finish up, so we'll see if Jon Snow wants to hit any kind of timing with them upgrades. However, I feel as though he may not have the I mean, he may have to, because he's not got an infestation pit. He's not looking towards Hive for Vipers just yet. So if he doesn't hit it with 2-2 while his opponent's behind on 1-1, then there isn't going to be much he can really do in terms of timings. I mean, he's always going to be able to just take a fourth base and macro up, but that isn't the sort of style you want. That isn't how you should play Roach Hydra. You shouldn't just be like, oh, I'll just go head to head with you and see who macros better, because you're not going to get the better engagements unless the Terran player really screws up. You're always going to be taking less efficient engagements, because that's just how this army works. It packs a punch immediately and quickly, faster than usual, but it really kind of depreciates. The value is the army value is not. It's a high value army, but it's just not very effective as the game goes on, especially as the tank count rises. Now, in this third base, you could argue that it's not that well defended. These bio units, once they come over here, then it would be well defended. He might try and commit onto these tanks here, and in fact, we will have an engagement. Roach is going to come in from either side, but I mean, with the bunkers up and units just in the back, not really doing much at all, it's hard to believe that this is really going to work out. Jon Snow, though, he's going to do good damage in the back. He might be able to pick off a couple more tanks, and resetting the tank count even just a little bit here is going to be pretty effective, as he gets a couple of workers during this as well. It looks as though these drops have been back in, but we did miss that, so apologies for that. But yeah, I guess overall Jon Snow just I mean, he does a bit of damage, I suppose, but you can see already he's not trading that effectively. He's only on 3 bases against 3 bases of his opponent too. Oh man, poor Roach. This Korean's pissed off at him. Where's that drop gone? It was literally just here. It's maybe just been cleaned up. But yeah, I mean, he's not trading efficiently against his opponent here, and it's not like he's got extra bases to make up for that. The 4th base doesn't seem to be on the cards just yet for Jon Snow. When he takes one, he may very well just take this gold base, because that is something he may just end up just needing in general here, as the bio units for Apocalypse do fall back a little bit. He's starting to rebuild this tank count. He has got a second factory up, so he should be able to produce tanks 2 at a time and reproduce those pretty quickly. Again, going to be a core part of this army against this sort of Roach Hydra composition. Creep spread continues to be okayish for Jon Snow. It's it's very dominant on this left-hand side of the map, but it's non-existent on the right, which kind of really limits him. I mean, it doesn't give him information about an attack coming down this route. He's got no idea about this until this changing spot set on the tower, and on this map, that doesn't give him a lot of time to react. However, fortunately for him, he is already in a pretty decent position to deal with this. He has an okayish concave, as these guys both come in to fight here, and I think that was a good fight. He comes in, he trades against the initial tank, and now he backs off from the remaining tank fire into a position where he can take a better concave. A 4th base now on the way, but for the Terran player, it's actually already up and beginning to mine. And again, I mean, the Terran player trading more effectively here is just continuing to take an advantage. You have a couple of Vipers on the way as Hive has finished up. We're going to see 3-3 come in at pretty similar times for either player, and we're going to see some Roach attacks start up coming along this left hand side. Now they probably could take down this bunker as scans come down here, just clean up the creep a little bit. So, you know, Apocalypse is setting some map control for himself here. These Roaches are going to come in. Let's see how much damage they do. I mean, it's not too important if he loses these. You know, they're not that important. And, yeah, okay, so he gets this bunker down pretty quickly. Units should be able to react to this pretty quickly at the same time. Apocalypse moving onto the edge of the creep, though. These Roaches still doing a little bit of damage over here. Just a few bio units coming over, and then again, that should be more than enough to clean us up. And, oh, look at this positioning for Apocalypse. He's going to get right in between the bases here of Jon Snow, but Jon Snow is going to come in from either side on creep as well. The tanks are exposed. They're going to go down almost immediately from behind. The Viper's not really able to help out at all, but they're not really needed. The Concave for Jon Snow is good as Apocalypse tries to just continue to do some damage. He will pick off +3 Carapace, but his whole army is going to go down here, and he cannot lose these medevacs. He will begin to boost away, but he's losing a few of them, and that's a little bit of a miscontrol there, in all honesty, by Apocalypse. Still some units over at this third base, though, and how much damage was done in terms of work as well? Not too many. Sorry, close that a little bit quickly. 24 to 19 workers killed, so not that many at all. Fourth base was forced to be cancelled, and that's pretty huge because Apocalypse still does have his fourth base going up while trading more effect. Ooh, well, okay, it's pretty even now, so that you can see. I mean, Jon Snow has pulled back a lot of resources lost in that fight. It was a great fight for him, coming in from multiple angles on creep. Tanks were in the back, so they got picked off very, very quickly, and the Zerg ended up with a fantastic concave. And then at the end, of course, picking off a few extra medevacs just because Apocalypse didn't really control it as well as he should have done. And now we do see Roach Hydra looking to come into this third base. It's going to be hard. It's a very defensive position. We've got a couple of tanks sieged up, but they don't have coverage of this very far left-hand side. And this is a fair few depots going to go down. I mean, Apocalypse is nearly supply blocked here. Nice abducts as well. That's 2 tanks almost immediately gone. And again, they are core parts of this army. And Overlord over here will spot this fourth base mine. Will not be surprised for Jon Snow to send a few units over there. But he's struggling right now. He's actually heading into some Broodlords. The Great Spire has finished. There's no real answer for Broodlords for Apocalypse. They kind of nullify the tanks, but it's an interesting position altogether. Tanks doing siege here. I mean, Apocalypse, he knows the Hive is down, but the Great Spire is over here. He's got no idea about this Great Spire. He's got no idea about the potential Broodlords. This +3 Carapace did actually end up surviving, which is pretty huge as well. So, I mean, Jon Snow's about to max out, but he's still on 3 bases, so it's going to becoming ever more important for him to really shut this down. And now this drop is going to spot a Great Spire. So right now, he knows of this threat of the Broodlords, and how does he react to this? Well, he's actually pushed in here, and he actually catches one of these Broodlords out of position already, and Jon Snow isn't really ready for this fight. The Broodlord numbers aren't that scary, and there's another Broodlord going to die. However, this Bio Army runs into the Roach Hydra. The tanks aren't in range, and that might be just what Jon Snow needs to push forward here, and tanks are still so scary, as the Viper with a Blinding Cloud on those tanks could definitely be what he needs. And, ooh, nice pickup here. Smart pickup by Apocalypse to just get out of there and wait for a better fight. Because in the end there, I mean, it was kind of weird because he had the initial positioning, but he kind of ran a little bit too far forward, and it kind of went a little bit sour. Still, this fourth base mine for Apocalypse, non-existent for Jon Snow as he begins to move across the map. I don't think 2 Broodlords is the kind of push he was initially thinking of when he decided to go for this strategy. And tank sieging up here, that's going to be some mega damage. A couple of Broodlings coming in will allow for a bit of friendly fire. And even on this, if it goes on this tank, in fact, that's pretty sweet. Picks off a tank just by friendly fire. Has to be so careful about these Broodlords, though. There's another one dead, and I mean, this is pretty much it. As Jon Snow collapses onto this army, is it going to be enough for one last fight here? Well, the bio units are starting to dwindle. There's still so many tanks in the back, though, adding so much DPS to these Hydralisks. There's Viper in the back. If that had enough energy for Blinding Cloud, that would have been absolutely huge in this. And this is such a close fight, and in the end, I mean, Jon Snow's going to clean up. He's going to clean up. He's going to start cleaning out this fourth base. But, I mean, he hasn't had a fourth base of his own yet. So, I mean, main base mined out. Natural pretty much mined out. Third base well on the way to mine out. So, he's really starting to be in a bit of trouble here. I mean, Apocalypse can just re-land this fourth base. Maybe over here. Maybe even at the gold. If he can rebuild the tank count and take position with that, he's going to start dropping now. I mean, he has lost a lot of his army. So, it's going to be hard for him to be aggressive. And Jon Snow, imagine he rebuilt a fourth base just a little while ago. I mean, Apocalypse hasn't done anything to take down a 4th base in the recent past, in the recent history of this game. So, you know, this 4th base could have been up. It could have been mining for Jon Snow, but he committed a lot to that attack, and while he has done some damage that was needed to be done, it may not be enough here. He's going to start dropping, and a few drones at this gold base will go down, and I mean, that's a little bit unfortunate. It's about, I mean, it's only about 50 minerals he's lost, and of course the 5 drones too. But the drones aren't as important, I guess, because he doesn't have bases to really mine with all of his drones from right now. He's going to try and take this base down to the bottom right once again, and defending that's going to be so crucial here. But you can already see, I mean, again, resources lost has been so even, but Apocalypse about to retake his 4th base. He's already mined from this from a slight amount of time, and you can see in the supplies them being pretty even here, but Apocalypse with a bigger bang. You can see that this is the kind of situation we've seen all game. Now, Blinding Clouds could be huge here. First Blinding Cloud, not so great. Pulls the tank forward to deny the DPS a little bit. The rest of the Blinding Clouds are interesting because it's forcing these Marines to run all the way forward, but there's just so much bio here. It doesn't seem to matter, and these Roaches and Hydras, again, without overwhelming numbers, their efficiency really is lost. They're being chased away now by a few SCVs as well, trying to run all the way back home, and Jon Snow's just trying to make whatever he can, but again, the economy's just not there. He's mining off of one, and well, pretty much one base right now, and it's been that way for a minute or two, and again, he just doesn't have the economy to keep rebuilding, and that's why and we've seen the Apocalypse with this 4th base. That's why he still has units here, and pulling this tank is pretty much one of the last moves Jon Snow is going to be able to do, because his units are just going to die off to the bio that's behind us, and a close, intense, almost 30-minute long game to get us started here in this best of 7 series. I forgot to mention that at the start. Best of 7 series. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it's just too good from Apocalypse. That 4th base was so crucial, and you have to kind of ask yourself, I mean, Jon Snow clearly he thought, I don't have the time to invest in a 4th base because he's just going to max out and overrun me, which is maybe true, but you've got to ask yourself, does he go for that one very all-in attack? Or does he hope that Apocalypse maybe messes up an engagement when he is maxed out? Because he hadn't been the best at engaging that army a couple of times. So, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, it's one of them things, you know, there was 2 different routes he could have taken, maybe a couple others that we haven't discussed, and he picked one of them. It did work out well, but it just wasn't enough. And again, maybe if he even knew about that 4th base a bit faster, maybe got some Roaches over there to deny the mining, the game could have looked completely different. 1-0 right now to IvD Gaming, guys, as they take on Solaris in week 2 of SC2ITL America. How is everyone in the chat doing? We're going to take a quick commercial break. And during the break, let me know who you're cheering for. Let me know if you're out there, and let me know how you're enjoying the show so far. We'll be back after a quick 3-minute commercial break for game number 2 of Solaris against IvD. Guys, don't go too far, because if any game 1 was anything to go by, game 2 is going to be pretty sick. Hello, welcome back. How is everyone doing today? This is SC2 Improved Team League America. I'm Wardy, and yeah, it's fun to be here. Coming up to 2:30 here in the UK in the morning, so a bit late, but can't resist staying awake to cast some wonderful games of StarCraft, as we do have 2 fantastic teams here. One of the best, pretty much I think the best match of week 2 here of SC2ITL America. It's IvD Gaming versus Solaris SC2, or Solaris Gaming. I keep saying their Twitter handle. Game number 2 is going to be Guitarchis against Apocalypse, and let's very quickly introduce these players because we're a couple of minutes into the game. Nothing too much happening though. In the upper right hand corner from IvD Gaming is the red Terran player Apocalypse, taking down Jon Snow and Overgrowth against the Roach Hydra play. Very sloppy game. Be interesting to see what Guitarchis, another Zerg player from Solaris, is going to come out with here today. Once again, both teams all killing last week, or Jon Snow actually pulled off the all kill last week against Seed. I don't know who IvD sent out first last week, so not too sure about that, but again, both teams all killed, so the first map loss of the season here for Solaris. I mentioned just before, this is one of the best matches taking place this week, and I think we actually have another of the best matches taking place this week tomorrow, as we'll have Micro Gamers taking on Gravity at 8 PM Eastern Daylight, or Eastern Summit, EST, EDT, whichever, I don't know what it's called, but you know, whatever the daylight saving time is for the Eastern time zone in America. I'm forgetting, so ignore me talking crap, but yeah, that'll take place at 8 PM, so like 22 and a half hours from now. That should be a pretty good series as well. Microgame is just picking up SC as well, so pretty excited in case we get to see him in action tomorrow. As what's going on here? I mean, not really too much. Just a couple of Reapers coming in, doing a little bit of harassment here. Only getting a couple of Zerglings, but not too much else. And just going to keep on hopping around for as long as they can. They haven't actually spotted this gas yet, and that's what they really do want to get in here and spot. And they do actually come in here and spot that gas has been mined. Just 100 of it. They see there's pool wearing away as well, so he knows Metabolic Boost is coming up here. So he knows exactly what's up. He knows what he's playing against. As the Reapers come in once again. Ooh, maybe a bit of an overcommitment there. Very close to getting himself caught, but does end up making it out. So a complete change up here actually from IvD Gaming's Apocalypse. He adds on the starport, which is something we didn't see as quick in game number 1. So this starport, you know, 2 different opportunities here. He's only on a single gas, so I feel more likely than anything this is just going to be the Viking coming out here to clean up some overlords on the map, really open up them drop paths, and well, we'll see what exactly it's going to be here fairly soon, as a third base comes down for Gatachi's much sooner than it did for Jon Snow in that previous game there on Overgrowth. So already we're seeing different styles of play between these players from Solaris, which is, you know, probably definitely a good thing. If your first player loses, you don't want to send out, you know, it's already a little bit risky sending out someone of the same race. If they played the exact same way, then you're really asking for it. It's actually just going to be Cloakless Banshee here from Apocalypse. So I kind of don't really agree with Cloakless Banshees anymore. I mean, I think the Cloak's always going to be useful, like a third base which doesn't have a Spore Crawler nearby. You know, because Queens can still come over here and turn away a Banshee, but a Cloaked Banshee, there's no answer for this unless it layers up. No answer for it at all, so I always feel it's kind of a waste, especially with Cloak being so cheap nowadays. But again, it's I guess just a preference thing. It depends how aggressive he wants to be with it. You know, he's probably played this kind of build out 100 times. He probably says, well, actually, when I play this style, I never actually need Cloak. It's always kind of useless upgrade for me. A Reaper trying to scout here gets shut down by some speedlings. And a couple of drones heading over here. I mean, he did get the information that this third base is up. I'm not sure if he saw that before now, but he does see it up, and he will actually be able to get over here to check these drones on mining on it. So that's a pretty important piece of information to this, seeing this base is being mined from and not just acting as a macro hatchery. Banshee here, so I mean the aggression's about to begin, and as these queens see this, some Spore Crawlers could come down. Only a single Banshee, so I guess I kind of like this because you can force a lot of reaction out of the Zerg player for very little, because it's only a single Banshee. But I mean, he's still invested in the starport, right? I guess he's going to get medevacs out pretty quick, as these Hellions are just completely turned away by these queens at the front here. Banshee continuing to chase down a couple of units, getting a couple of kills here, forcing all of the workers to move away from the main base. And Apocalypse going to get a couple more drones on the way out, and that's 4 kills on that single Cloakless Banshee. Should get back home, should get repaired, and move on from there. So Apocalypse, he's you know, pretty standard situation here, as he's just heading into his 1-1, his stim. Nice little bit of harass with the Hellions on the high ground, and ooh, a shot on them lings would be painful, and it is indeed a fair few of those falling there. And well. These Hellions and this Reaper just falling back. Third base on the way up here for Apocalypse as well. His production really going to be starting to kick in, especially as barracks number 4 and 5 kick in here. In fact, that's barracks number 5 and 6, so production really about to kick in. His 1-1 halfway done, so now's the time to add on that armory as well. And I mean, 1-1 about to finish up for a Zerg player. Bane that's a little bit late, honestly, I'd say here. You know, considering we're about to see very soon probably a 1-1 timing with a couple of medevacs already on the way out, we're almost definitely going to see this Terran player commit forward with you know, a bunch of Marines and this 1-1 and stim. And if he doesn't have Baneling speed, that can always end up being a little bit of an issue here, because slow Banelings just do not cut it. And this Baneling nest coming up so late because of it's coming down you know, well after the lair's finished. This could be a bit of an issue for him. Here comes this little bit of an attack out on the map, and we'll see if he maybe gets punished a little bit for this. As these Hellions still just attacking down this side, and he does get, just doesn't get that creep team there. Actually ends up going invisible just in time. The Spire's about halfway done here. 6 Banelings on the way, but again, that's not so many. Gatachi is going to spot this attack coming to the right from the right hand side, so he knows this is here. Baneland S has finished, still no centrifugal hooks, and again that's a very important upgrade. A ton of Zerglings being made here, and I mean it's such a light pressure from Apocalypse. It costs him absolutely nothing to do this. Maybe he loses a mine or two, but he should just pick up and get out. And this is a fantastic position to engage of all positions as well in their minerals. And ooh, if the Hellbat's coming in there, then ends up actually tanking quite a lot of the hits on the Banelings, and Guitar Cheesy will end up cleaning this up. But wasn't the most efficient of trades. I feel like he really committed a lot of units there to defend as well. And I guess he's on 70 drones, so it's not the end of the world. So, yeah, okay, I guess in the end he deflects it alright. Could have been a little bit better, but as I said, not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. What he really wants to start doing now, though, of course, is adding on those Mutalisks as look at this Apocalypse, pretty much all set for run to deny run buys from this direction. I guess there's an opportunity to just run straight in here with some Zerglings, but he's thinking ahead here. He's getting prepared to just defend throughout this game. This fourth base coming down fairly early, but of course it's so easy to defend. I mean, he's already essentially defending a fourth base by standing here because he's going to take it here, and it's going to be so great for him to just rally to that fourth and continue to push downwards into the Zerg player's base. And look at this, drop him in between these minerals once again. Muta's coming out though, so he has to be careful. He doesn't actually have a boost here, and he will lose the first of these medevacs. The boost now comes off cooldown, and well, he's going to chase, and these Mutas have to be careful. He does turn away just in time. But a good initial win here, and this could cause a little bit of a counterattack from Guitar Cheese. I mean, he's got a ton of Lings out. I guess 2-2 is about to finish for him. So I mean, if he had some Banelings, he definitely, I mean, he's got a few, but that's not really enough to attack with. If he had a bunch more Banelings, he really could go for a bit of an attack here, but he's really investing all of his money into Mutas so far. Whoa, as the drop heads out on the map, we're actually going to see him come in and commit, and I mean, he catches a lot of this here initially, a single mine. The Mutas kind of leading the charge, not the best, because they're going to take a lot of damage in the meanwhile. Apocalypse is in a bit of trouble here, in all honesty. I mean, again, there's not that many Banelings as the Zerglings continue to stream forward, so Marines will trade very well against this. And with 2 turrets here and a bunker, I mean, this should be more than enough. This command center is on fire, though. And the command center will get repaired here, surely, and all of these moves are going to end up going down. We've still got a drop heading down the bottom left-hand side. Oh no, these SCVs are all going to go down to these Banelings, and I thought he had enough here, but these Marines were kind of still over towards the natural. And I mean, the command center lives. He loses a lot of SCVs, however. This drop down here could do a fair amount of damage because there's not really that many units out and about here for Guitar Cheese, and they're all out of position. He's now going to send his Lings. Oh, I thought he'd seen it already. Now he definitely sees it as he starts attacking from the high ground. 34 workers killed in that attack. Zerglings coming in to clean this up. Here come the Mutas as well. They're going to get the medevac. Of course, a very important pick-off. And I mean, how many medevacs have we seen taken down here? 5 medevacs is a pretty decent number. I mean, considering he's got 3 out, that could be 8 medevacs out on the map if he'd been keeping these alive. But to only have 3 really limits the kind of potential of the Terran army, of any kind of Terran attack, of the kind of damage the Terran player can do by moving out on the map. Apocalypse here, he's getting ready to go for an attack, maybe. I mean, now's not really the time to attack, right? Now's the time to maybe secure a 4th base and just kind of sit back, because he's going to be able to set up a minefield. He's going to be able to wait for 3-3, which will be an advantage for him. There's no way the Zerg's going to get ahead of him and 3-3. So now's not the time to attack for him. Now's the time to wait. Now's the time for the Zerg to attack before 3-3 does kick in, before the Terran gets that upgrade advantage, while he's trying to secure a 4th base. So will our Zerg player do this? He's got a 4th base up, which he's not really using. I mean, even the gas being used is something we usually see. Guitar Cheese has absolutely no money at all, so he's not maxed. He's not going to be ready to rebuild from this army. He's not on an overwhelming amount of drones. He's on 69, which is, it's alright. It's not huge. It's not tiny. Some good mine hits here initially on these Zerglings. Banelings rolling in, and again, there's not that scary number of Banelings really. A lot of these connecting on mines, and Zerglings run up this ramp into kind of the death kind of concave of Marines. There may just be a few too many though, as he continues to push on forward. He pushes him back in towards his natural. He's going to come onto a bunker now. Is Guitar Cheese going to be able to push this back? Well, not too much further surely. He's going to get a couple of medevacs though, and now he will turn away once again, as we have once again a drop coming in at this 4th base. So Apocalypse always trying to stay alive with these drops. Going to force this Guitar Cheese forces this 4th base to turn around right now. 43 workers killed throughout the game. I mean, you can see Apocalypse, that kind of dink in his economy is really hurting him, because he can't keep up on supply. He can't keep up in terms of army. It's not the biggest of issues, again, because 3-3 is about to finish, and as 3-3 finishes, he doesn't need as much army supply as the Zerg to stay in the game. But for right now, he's in a little bit of trouble. Another medevac going down. That's another 10 supply, which kind of, you know, it's done some damage, but now it's just gone. And Guitarchis will keep on remaking. I don't know why he's not taking these gas guys. It's because, I mean, I guess he's starved for minerals and gas. I mean, so it's when you play Mutilating Bling, you're all about continuously swarming your opponent with smaller army values, and because of that, you generally have a few more workers than your opponent. You generally have about 80 drones. So I feel like he's missing out on about 10 drones here, which is why this 4th base has been empty for so long. However, it might not matter. I mean, he's got an army supply advantage as well. Now, he is going to be fighting into a 3-2 Terran player with only 2 upgrades. The mines go off, and, well, there's only 1 mine left, and the mines have had okayish hits, but not the best. There's a fair few banelings left over here. The mines getting cleaned out. Guitarchis maintains a 30 supply advantage as we see mines continue to burrow. Apocalypse starts off with another command center. Did he lose this orbital? I think he may have lost it. I saw it floating away. I mean, we've seen it being chased away a couple of times. He loops up another drop. This drop, which has looped around this side of the map and come in towards this 4th, has always been, or this 3rd, has always been successful. It's always done at least a little bit of damage, forced some drones off the line, etc., etc. And Guitarchi is moving in a bunch of banelings again, looking to continue this aggression, but of course now is the time where the Terran player will begin to shine. That 3-3 upgrade has just finished up for him here, but of course the Zerg has a lot of a pretty huge advantage here, simply because of the way the early game has gone, the early and mid game. Coming forward here, a lot of banelings. Where are the splits from Apocalypse? Well, the mine hits are just huge, and then banelings don't get anything at all. Guitarchi turns around, and that was a really, really nice fight there for Apocalypse. He holds on, and again now he's beginning to secure this 4th base. Still no gas mining here for the 4th base of Guitarchis, and he's only around this 20 meter mark. You know, he's not really going too much higher than this. He's not heading into that very scary, like very scary late game Zerg, which is either the Muta Ultra composition, hold that forward because we have another fight here. Banelings streaming forward once again, off of creep though, they just keep getting picked off. He's going to get this new 4th base, which is landing. In fact, that was the natural, so he's getting another orbital here. A bunch of SCVs kind of just sitting back and not really doing too much. So nice pick off by Guitarchis again. He's got a lot of money here once again to spend. As again this drop comes in towards this 4th, they will get chased down by the Mutalisks. He shouldn't let this go. He's not getting to the mega scary endgame army, which is kind of Muta Ultra, and you know he's adding on a few more mutas now, but he's been troubled to do this before now because he's always had to be making banelings, and again without this gas on this 4th base, he can't afford to make a bunch of banelings every time he fights and add on a couple of mutas. So it's it's been very tight for him. It looks as though now though, I mean, I don't think we've ever seen either player maxed out in the entirety of this game. Almost 50 workers killed here for Guitarchis. I mean, again, his attacks throughout the game have done so much damage time to time. This run by could be huge as well. Coming in towards this base, and it forces a lift immediately. A lot of SCVs should go down. That being said, the armies here, the Zerglings are going to get massacred. The Banelings kind of wanting to come in maybe for a bit of a flank, but just not quite there. Apocalypse with that engagement does even up the supplies in this game, and again he does have that upgrade advantage too, as he repositions a little bit of his minefield here. Again, probably most interesting just securing this 4th base and securing it for long enough until he's maxed out, maybe with a little bit of a bank, and then just goes for one big attack down the center of the map and just hopes that his more efficient army can just win the game straight out. It's going to be tough though, because he will be fighting on to creep whichever kind of direction he takes, unless he really loops around. And I mean, even still, I mean, it's going to be on creep if he wants to fight anywhere significant to harm the Zerg player. Guitarchi is still spending all of that money. Apocalypse too, as we see something getting cleaned up over here. The creep continuing to spread. I mean, he's actually touching this 4th base right now. Apocalypse realizing, right, I really need to start throwing this back. He has got 3 orbitals up, so he's lost a couple here and there, but he has been remaking them as time goes on. Ooh, Guitarchi's wanted to take a fight here. It's kind of hard because, I mean, once you get past this area, you really get choked up. You either get choked up here, you either get choked up here, you get choked up here, and you know all of these locations. They have the planetary adding DPS as well. It's not going to be a good fight for you. So Mutas here trying to just trade, and ooh, big mine hit goes off on their Mutas, but of course they're not going to die. They just take a bit of damage, will be turned away for now, as once again the Apocalypse with the same drop path around the left hand side of the map, going to look to hit this base down here, get the drones pulled for a little while. At the same time, he's probably rallied via this expansion just so he can check it all the time, you know, is this base being taken? In fact, you think he may just be rallied here and nowhere else, because he wants to deny a further base from his opponent. You can see he's already starting to drop here. As he sees nothing, he'll probably just run in towards this base down here, but it may have been spotted. Okay, it doesn't look like it. It looked as though Guitarchis was beginning to move forward to defend this. but in the end he was not. Single Marine checking around, heading behind a couple of minerals, and this drop this time gets shut down almost immediately here. Muters are in position, and boom, but it does provide you know, Apocalypse with an opportunity to move out onto the edge of this creep. And he does clean that up a little bit, so Gitachi is going to have to commit some queens forward to keep this creep spread alive. And this creep spread has been a major part of this game so far. It's really, I mean, he's got so many active humans here, so that's okay. But over here, he really does not. And again, the creep spread is so important in terms of taking fights. It's 2-2 against 3-3 as our Zerg player comes in for the fight here. The Muta's taking a lot of damage from mines. A ton of Bane lanes coming in from behind. Some mines still yet to go off. The splits from the Terran player are pretty darn good, though. There's still a lot of Bane lanes, though, continue chasing. There's Bane lanes left over as well as all of these Mutas in the sky. And it looks as though Gitachi's still doesn't have. I was about to say Gitachi's is going to push on free and win, but no. He's turned around once again. He has 70 lings, 12 Banelings on the Remax, though, and that's money, which Apocalypse just really doesn't have right now. So it may very well be that we see the momentum from that fight carry forward for Gitachi as he gets ready to go again with another round of Banelings. Comes forward with these Mutas, picks off a mine here, and again just taking away any of this splash damage which can go off during this fight. And here we go, a bunch of Zerglings coming forward. Again, big Zergling hits, big mine hits, sorry, on the Zerglings. We'd like to see maybe a few Zerglings just peel ahead, peel in front of the rest of the units here. The Mutas are going to come in and they're going to take down the majority of these medevacs. Again, we see a lot of Banelings just chasing continuously here, going after these Marines. The Mutas are in the main, and with these Mutas in the main, they're going to be able to camp this production. Of course, that is where it really begins to matter here. Still a few medevacs up. I'm surprised he's not kind of hitting this space. I'm surprised he's not hitting this space. You know, with these Muta squads, I mean, now's the time to, you know, shut down these bases and really stop the mining there to really take an advantage. I mean, he's still in a pretty good spot. No one's going to deny that as he takes off a couple of depots over towards this third base. And a stim forward here again. He gets the overload here, so that's going to slow down Gitachi just slightly as he makes a new one to be able to counteract the mines. He's got so much gas now, but no minerals. And, I mean, he's actually struggling in bases. He's actually on one mining base. This is the second game in a row where we've seen the Solaris player kind of run out of minerals on the map to mine. I mean, he's got this one base here, which is all Apocalypse has as well. So, I mean, overall, we're pretty even. But all it takes is Apocalypse to float a base over here for 1 minute, drop a ton of mules on it, and boom, he's like 2k minerals up ahead of his opponent. You can see this has been a much more efficient game for Apocalypse. He's, you know, pretty much always throughout this game, and that's to be expected with the Terran play having been on 3-3 for so long. This is what these Mutas need to do, really start shutting down the mine towards this base, or at least forcing units to be over here to defend. And he does do that. Another drop, and again we're going to see the same drop path used by Apocalypse around the left hand side of the map. And again he's going to look to deny this base because he knows how important denying a base over here would be. Already though, units coming in. I mean, Gitachi's predicting this to come across as he does fly in once again, try and do a little bit more damage onto that fourth of the Terran player. This drops a long way to go until it reaches this base down to the bottom left. So these units are here pretty early. I wonder if he's just going to sit back, play with the Mutas only until he has some stacked defense over there, because, you know, 3-4 spine crawlers is more than enough to deal with this single drop which Apocalypse has been using throughout the entirety of this game so far. Mutas coming around once again here as this bio army comes to just spot this fourth base. We're just ticking over the 30-minute mark here, so the second macro TVZ in a row, and what a series this is already turning out to be, and we're only in game number 2. Gitachi's, I would still say, with a fairly decent advantage. That being said, Apocalypse has the army supply advantage, he has the upgraded advantage too, so one good fight for Apocalypse can turn into bases dying for our Zerg player, no money being left over for him, and boom, all of a sudden the Terran player takes the game. These Mutas, though, they should be able to stop any kind of attack really happening, because as soon as he moves out, the Mutas should be in there and denying, you know, they should be in there denying mine and forcing the Terran player to be all in with an attack or turning around to defend it. So more Banelings morphing down here. I mean, he's still sticking around. He's not adding spine cores. I guess he doesn't really have minerals too. As this drop gets cleaned up, he's probably going to feel very, very confident. Oh my god, what is this? A huge drop coming over here. I mean, that's so risky by Apocalypse with these Mutas having been so nearby for so long. I mean, he did scan beforehand. This drop is spotted here, and he does keep this base alive, which is so important right now for his mineral income. He needs them minerals. The Muta's not actually coming over here because he's a little bit afraid, in fact, of what he would assume a similar play of what Apocalypse just tried, which was just to try and mass drop across that little bit of a crevice and into this base. So yeah, Gitachi, he's coming across here. Ooh, single meter gonna get taken out. Apocalypse still just trying to deny this base. The big swarm of mutants is now here. Apocalypse has sent up the base over here from his main, so again that mule hammer is going to come down. This is all it takes for him to have another base for a little while, and boom, all of a sudden it's it's like, well, you've got a ton of minerals again. The Zerglings over here, they're going to run into this army. They have to be careful. Mine will get an okay shot, not the best. A couple another mine goes off and gets a few more Zerglings here. Bunch of Billions as well. I wonder if now's the time for Guitarchis to move forward and try and close out this game. I mean, he's maxed out, and you know, the less time he gives the Terran player, the better. A ton of mines left over here. Such a trap, just waiting for these mutants to fly into them. Nice picks off a couple of mines here as well. And again, it's all about just grabbing these few little unit kills here and there. And oh, we're gonna have a fight here, almost definitely. Surely we are. As these Baners and Zerglings are here, the mutants are coming in as well. But neither player really committing to the actual engagement right now. We're gonna have a situation where both players are once again maxed out. I mean, this base is actually secured up here now for Apocalypse, more or less. These mutants, I mean, they need to be so careful coming into this space. I think almost definitely need to really come towards this space instead now. I mean, it's a different place to start sending your focus. Ooh, those first two mine hits weren't as good as we would have thought they would be. Again, if these mutants hit the space now, that's a whole base of mine just gone. There's no anti-air here at all. It looks as though he might just go for the engagement. Instead, the first mine doesn't get too much. The second mine just hits on the mutants. Great split already though for Apocalypse. There's no way a Zerg player can realistically attack into this. Surely not, but he's going to go for it anyway. Let's see what happens. These mutants have to pull back a little bit. The huge amount of Banelings coming forward here. And, well, a lot going down for Apocalypse. Will he have enough anti-air to deal with the mutants after there's still a fair few Banelings around? These Medevac's are going to start getting chased down as well. And Guitarchis, can he do this? He's pushing his opponent back. There's still Banelings here. And Banelings, of course, the most important part. Boom! On the Mutalist. A big mine shot once again. Mutants continue to chase forward though. Just a few Marines left over. The mutants still in outrageous kind of numbers here, taking down these turrets. They're in the natural, and Apocalypse maybe on a last stand here, as he's not going to really have that many reinforcements. Supply depots are going to start going down. Zerglings are cleaning up a Marauder or two. This may be another orbital that dies off here. Another Medevac will go down too. And again, Apocalypse, can he come back from this? Well, he's got a drop denying the mining over here, and with this base mined out, this means we pretty much have only the armies on the map right now. Well, that being said, Apocalypse actually has mining up here as well, so it's so important for Guitarchis to either shut down the production or this mining, and he's choosing the production, and that is what he's doing right now, as, oh, a bunch of mines could make the difference against these Mutalists, but they don't really get the shots off that they need, and a few more units just continue to fall here. Mines getting chased down as well, Marines getting killed off as they come out. Zerglings are running into a planetary fortress, which, you know, again, the Zerglings, they need to head over to this base, shut down the mine over there. That's the only reason units are continuing to come out. This game, 94 supply against 79, and Orbital Command is going to see what the creep is like over here, as Mutalisks are going to chase these Medevacs now. Medevacs are kind of a lot of the supply for Apocalypse right now, and of course they're not that useful at all. Mining will be denied over here, but it's still mining in the top left hand side of the map. This drop is still doing damage as well, flying around trying to do damage wherever he can. These Medevacs have escaped. Terran player will continue building Marines, and I mean he's surely he's done it from here, as Guitarchis has no mining left on the map at all. He's ran out of minerals completely, and I mean, again, this base is just unanswered. This is the second game where we're going to end up seeing basically the base unanswered for a Solaris player, and Apocalypse just going to live through because of that. And I mean, 30 Marines being produced at a time. Again, that top left base is so important. Them mutants really needed to hit that when it first came down. You know, that was such an important turning point in the game. That base coming down over there, and now, okay, he does have an overseer. I was about to say, he probably, well, if he didn't, he can't afford to make another. Ooh, he gets hit there, and that overseer again might be about to go down. I mean, the drones are pulled right now. They've got nothing better to do. But this is just pure Marine, and pure Marine against no splash damage. GG Apocalypse. Oh, takes game number 2, but what a game that was. I mean, did you guys see that coming? Because I didn't. I mean, I knew the danger was there for Guitarchis to start slipping out in the game, but I thought he was dealing with it well. You know, I thought he knew where his disadvantages were. I thought he knew what he needed to do, but again, he saw that top left base as soon as it landed. He had a ling there. He scouted it. He knew that was what he needed to stop. But then he made no moves to really, truly stop that. And again, you can only kind of sit and look at it afterwards and go, well, that's why you lost. That one base up there was all that was mining. That's why you had Marines coming out at the end. And maybe if he didn't commit into the main base there, maybe if he just went over to the left and killed off the natural, or he killed off that 4th base or 5th base, whatever base it was, that may very well, guys, have been the difference. Unfortunately, IvD are up 2-0, and I really thought we were going to see an even series at that point. So, GG. Apocalypse on a 2-kill streak here, and Solaris, they looked so strong last week, but now they're in a little bit of trouble as they sit 2-0 down. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. If you're enjoying the stream, want to see when we go live again in the future, hit the follow button. You'll get notified of when we are live. Thank you guys to everyone who's hitting the follow button already. A couple of you guys hitting the follow button already tonight, a couple of IvD members. So thank you guys again. Hit that follow button to see when we go live, or check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/SC2_improve. We'll be back in 3 minutes time with more SC2 Improve Team League America action as we head into map number 3 between IvD Gaming and Solaris. I'll let you guys know in the chat as soon as I know which the next player will be from Solaris Gaming. Guys, enjoy the music and we'll be back here as soon as we can. Which song should we put on? Ooh, I don't know. Oh, I like this. I've been liking this lately. It's Royal Blood. Enjoy it. Give it a couple of moments, because 2-minute 50 song and you play 3 minutes of ads means that we have a few moments where ads are probably overlapping a little bit. So we'll give it a few moments here. Just a few moments. You might be able to hear in the background game is starting, but we'll give it a couple more minutes. And okay, right. Hello guys, welcome back. We're heading into game number 3, and it's going to be a TVT. It's going to be Binsky up next here for Solaris. I'll just tell you guys that in the chat, which is now in the past. But yeah, Binsky up next for Solaris makes this a TVT heading into map number 3 on Waystation. Now this this could be another long one. I'm not going to lie to myself, as we're on the long positions of Waystation, and something tells me we could see mech. Maybe we could see it end quickly, I guess. Maybe some early aggression, always possible in TVT. You know, with them boosty, with them, you know, boosty. What am I even saying? Them turbo medevacs. I'm sure there's a fucking phrase for it. How can I forget the phrase for like boosted medevacs? Whatever. With them stupidly fast medevacs, I mean anything can cross the map quickly. Well, I'm having a complete black. I don't even know if I'm just making stuff up to myself anymore. Anyways, we're in Waystation here for game number 3, and let's just get into this game before anything too crazy happens. Both players opening with a Rax and a gas pretty much at the same time here, and looks as though it's probably going to be Reaper, as I believe it was 12 Rax, 12 gas from both players, and the gas from Binsky was ever so slightly later, so that might have been a 12-13, which could mean he goes straight into a factory, but all will be revealed in the upper left hand corner. Yellow Terran player representing Solaris Gaming, ladies and gentlemen, it's Binsky. And in the lower right, the red Terran player from IvD Gaming, it is Apocalypse. Alright, so I'm just going to take a quick moment here to mention our sponsors, because quite clearly here not too much is going to happen. We're going to have the initial Reapers coming out, so we'll keep an eye on these, but we've got about a minute and a half until anything really is going to happen. So what can we say? I mean, we've had basically two really main sponsors. We have had a bunch of donations as well. So yeah, I mean, 2 main sponsors. Let's Kung Fu is basically this awesome guy. He has a bunch to do with the After Hours Gaming League, and he just loves putting money into StarCraft to see StarCraft events happening. He put $500 into the prize pool for this event, and we actually put $300 into the prize pool, and we're holding $200 for another event tied to SC2ITL America, because of all the donations we had as well. We just had so much prize pool we didn't even really know what to do. Reaper's meet in the middle of the map here, And they do disengage from one another. We're going to see a bit of a dance here, maybe. So that's Kung Fu. You can check him out at youtube.com/filthyrake. Just go, you know, why not just head on over to his YouTube, watch a video, leave a comment on a video saying thanks for supporting the StarCraft scene. You're literally awesome. Over the main sponsor as well, our peripheral sponsor, Zowie Gear. And I mean, what can I say about Zowie Gear? They've just supported SC2 Improve event after event after event. And I mean, I use all Zowie products now. I'm using a Zowie Mashu on my head. I've got a Zowie Miko on my side. I've got a Zowie Kamade, which is the bungee. And I've got a Zowie Solaris as well. The only thing I don't have actually is a Zowie mousepad. But all the products are great. I love using them. I have a choice. I don't have to use them, but literally they're the best. They're the best things. So I love them. So do check them out as well. They've been so awesome in sponsoring SC2 Improve events. And SC2ITL America is no different. They're putting in over $500 worth of products. So check them out, ZowieGear.com. And those are our two sponsors. So bit of just a talk at the start of this, as we have, you know, pretty much similar builds. A slightly later command center for Apocalypse. Not really sure where that difference arose, because both players are going into Reactor Tallions and a starport here. So pretty much the same to begin with from either side. As this red Reaper. I mean, both players, neither of them have lost their Reaper, which is pretty impressive. And both are heading in for the Scout. However, oh, well, Binsky gets it. And that's huge because he gets a lot of extra information, which his opponent will not. His opponent gets into the natural, and this will be a dead Reaper almost instantly here. And, you know, he can try and loop around a little bit, but he shouldn't get into the main base. He shouldn't be able to scout. So this is pretty nice. So Binsky gets all of that information. And, you know, I mean, Apocalypse gets the information at the front. He sees Hellions, he sees some Marines. He can probably say, oh, that's about what I've got. So he can probably assume similar build, but he doesn't know for sure. And, of course, that's such a huge thing here. First medevac on the way out, a tech lab on the way as well. What I'm really interested in is where's the second gas? And there's a second gas from Apocalypse. So he will actually head into a Banshee to follow this up. Oh, sorry, a Viking to follow this up. So probably a Viking Raven. He's going into an engineering bay, which I believe should be for a turret. And he's already got a drop coming around this side, and so does Binsky. Now, the thing with Reactor Hellion drops is the one of the best counters to it is Reactor Hellions yourself, and you can see both of these players, they're going to have plenty at home to be able to defend this drop, so these drops shouldn't be able to do all too much damage. The Vikings are going to be able to chase down. Interesting to see this factory moving across, so we're going to see Bioplay out of Binsky, and that Stimpack is started up as well. There's the Raven now. I believe this should be mech from Apocalypse. I mean, with the second gas already down, Raven Viking opening, it kind of just spells out for mech basically, as these Hellions are just sacrificed in here completely here, trying to get as many SCV kills as they can, but honestly not going to get too many. These Hellions have done a much better job at sneaking in for Apocalypse, and he's got the medevac above as well, so he's actually going to get out with all four of these, or maybe not actually. He's actually forced to kind of retreat a little bit in the end, and that didn't go as well for him. Oh! I had to cover my mouth because I was about to scream there, because that was a ton more damage. 12 workers killed against 3. Wow, Apocalypse just got a little bit more of a jump on Binsky, and that's allowed him to do a lot more worker damage in the start here. Now, funnily enough, it's only given him a 4 to 5 worker advantage, so not game ending. He also lost his medevac, whereas Binsky kept his alive. Now, we're seeing very different builds here. We're going to see Apocalypse heading to mech with a much faster third CC, whereas we're going to see Bio out of Binsky. So Binsky, you're going to really be looking to do some damage, deny this third base from mining for quite some time while taking a third base of his own. So again, he should be the much more mobile player on this map, and I really like this map for playing Bio on against mech. There's so many opportunities to drop. I mean, the turret's required to deny this third base, to deny all the main base. I mean, where do you take a fourth base as mech? Over here, but that's such a huge... Imagine this, a tank line to defend across here. That's a ton of tanks to commit. However, a ton of aliens coming into this natural expansion. Binsky doesn't really have anything in position to defend. Oh no, another huge shot's going to go off. And I mean, Apocalypse is just getting so far ahead in economy here early on. And I mean, Binsky's got this drop heading across the map, but is this really going to do any damage? With Vikings Vikings to chase down the medevac, a few Marines here, Hellions primarily as well to just deflect. I don't think so. And now 24 to 43 SCVs. Was that really another 15 SCV kills on this natural? That was absolutely huge. A little run by of Hellions there, and boom, all of a sudden this advantage opens up for Apocalypse. And well, I mean, you know, we say it all the time, the Bio player, should always be ahead on economy. Yet here we are, the bio player is behind. He's not going to have an economy to build an army to deflect a third base. You know, he's got no real options. So this is I mean, this is tough. It is the polite way of saying this. I mean, it's going to be very difficult coming back from this. I mean, yes, this drop's going to deny these gases going down for a little bit. He gets the SCVs and it just gets out of there. He knows how valuable every unit is for him right now after that early damage. But what does he do? I mean, he's got a third base, but it's not an orbital yet. It's nowhere near in the same location as Apocalypse. So Apocalypse is going to get the jump start on economy, playing mech. He's still almost 20 SCVs up. That's only going to rise again because Binsky still has to fly this third base out. A double drop now. He's actually going to be spotted by the barracks. Does he see this? I went on the wrong person's vision initially, so I'm not sure if Apocalypse was spotting there and if he did spot these two medevacs. They are heading out and about, heading across the map. And, well, I mean, this has been the least close of the kind of, you know, the first two games were very, very close between Solaris and IvD, but this game right now is looking like a stomping. I mean, we're not really seeing it just yet, but in terms of the worker supply again, and the advantage which our red player is going to be able to take here. I mean, he's just going to build up this mega army and just leapfrog across the map, and Binsky is really going to have to work some magic to keep him back and to buy enough time. Double drop in the main is absolutely huge, and I'm surprised there isn't more defense right now actually from Apocalypse. He does have a tank in position. He's got a few Hellions already coming forward, and he does actually force an immediate lift here. So in fact, I'm saying I'm surprised he doesn't have more defenses. He had plenty there, so he deflects that almost immediately. And again, where does Binsky go from here? He's actually behind on upgrades as well. His third base is now beginning to float out. This Hellion could come and block this for a little while, which would be even more painful, even more of a kick in the teeth. And again, I mean, Apocalypse, he doesn't even need to think about a 4th command center for a long time here. He just needs to think about make an army, head across the map nice and slowly, and, you know, make sure I've got something left at home to defend. And I guess he doesn't have that much, but he's rallying into his main base, so drops shouldn't do all too much. This base here is very vulnerable to a drop, and I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a medevac hit here already, because there's absolutely nothing here. Now is the time. I think as soon as he sees with these units on the tower, these units here for Apocalypse, I think now's the time he comes in and drops. But I'm really kind of disappointed that he's got these units out on the map. Sorry, like back at home instead of out on the map still. I mean, if you always have the threat of a double drop, you don't have this mech army at your front door right now. Yes, it's a lot less supply for you to defend with, but it's the difference between being able to do significant damage to the mech player at home and losing your third base, or just losing your third base and not doing any damage to the mech player. Drop does come into this third base again, so this is kind of going to be nice, but it's not really too much. It's a single medevac, a couple of Hellions, a couple of Marauders. They're actually going to get some good hits on SCVs, which are all lined up. But look at this, third base denied, and it might even go down here as the Vikings are going to chase this. And this is huge. If this third base dies, I mean, Binsky, again, that's just another disadvantage he has to play from. As Hellions coming in here from Apocalypse to clean us up, this base does go down. And look at this, he's even just going to pull his SCVs. He's just going to come in and try and go for this. The Hellbats are just going to laugh and say, come at me. Like, really, come at me. PDDs go down. These tanks are going to get cleaned up, but I mean, he lost so many SCVs to be able to do this. If them SCVs weren't there, that army would have been obliterated. And I mean, you've got to think about this now. Where's the economy sat? No third base, 30 SCVs behind, more or less. I mean, this drop has done some good damage, but 52 worker kills against 19 pretty much tells you the story of this game. And I mean, Apocalypse, he has an army back at home already to defend. So where does Binsky go from here? I'm not sure. He's going to start trying to drop, and I think trying to drop may very well be one of the best things he can do, because he just needs to stop his opponent coming across the map and killing him. He just needs time. And I mean, mechs are mobile, bio is mobile. Drop, attack where your opponent isn't heading. But it's getting to the stage where Apocalypse can just split his army in two, leave a bit to defend, and just kill him with the rest. And well, I mean, just look at this army right now. It's just terrifying. If I scan this as Binsky, I'm like, how am I even meant to engage this? Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, maybe if I mean, even unsieged, I don't think this army's killable. The Hellbats on their own are just going to cause issues for him. +2 against +1. Bio's going to start steering forward here, and again, we're unsieged, and I mean, the Hellbats are going to make a pretty good job now. Hellbats dropping on top of this as well, and you can see, I mean, the tanks don't even really add that much to it. I mean, they're the icing on the cake in the end, but before then, I mean, they weren't doing all that much, and this will just all get cleaned up here. And I mean, Apocalypse just A moves in to finish up, and I mean, that was everything for Binsky. Everything just dies there. His third base trying to be re-established. His few units just struggling out of the front. You know, it's kind of funny. I've casted, what, 2 games of SC2ITL America so far, and both games I've casted have been an all-kill. And if this is another all-kill here today, I just don't even know what to say. Like, what would the fortunes be of that? It's just crazy. Barracks actually came over here to try and just block this for a little bit, to kind of just be like, come on, seriously. But he's a little bit late in doing that. The space is beginning to mine, and Binsky, I mean, he's hanging on. He's really doing his best to just stay in this game as long as he can, as he sends a drop around this right-hand side now. But again, I mean, realistically, what do you do from this position? I don't know at all. I mean, Apocalypse has played this smart. He's just waited to max out. He's added on some more production. He's just waited, added on this turret ring to make sure he's pretty much safe, and sensor towers. And now he moves out. And you know, now how do you kill him? You can't drop the third. I mean, you can maybe come in, drop here, and run into the third. But then you've got a base over here as well, which is a planetary. And Medivacs just boost forward, dropping helipads already onto these units, and I mean, maybe not going to be the best of engagements here, but these tanks do siege and obliterate that those few bioforces in the front. The rest of the tanks unsieged, moving forward, and Binsky, his tank line is wiped out. His third base will be sieged up once again. And where does he go from here? Drop gets in somehow to this base and sits behind the mineral line, and that's going to be useful for all of 2 seconds, as it now has to lift up and get away again. Again, he's just trying to buy time. SCV is trying to just survive against this single hellbat taking them down. The base lifts, it's going to get hunted down though. Again, it's not long for this world. SCVs surround this hellbat, but that's not a pretty story to tell. And well, they might kill it. They do kill it in the end, but it's just game over. There's no hope at all, and we kind of saw that coming for quite some time. And just like that, it's 3-0 for IvD Gaming. And I mean, this is just starting to be a walkover. Is this going to be another all kill? Please don't say it is. I mean, really, the last thing we want is an all kill when we're casting again. Oh, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Solaris have been very quick with their player and map picks, so I'm going to go into this commercial break very quickly and talk crap afterwards. But if you're enjoying the stream, do hit follow. We'll be live tomorrow with Microgamers against Gravity, which should be a pretty good match from 8 PM Eastern time. So hit the follow button, see when we go live with that. We will be on a break for a week after that match because I'm going on holiday. So we'll be on a break after that, but hit the follow button, see when we go live. Or in the meantime, during this break, also check out our website, SC2Improve.net, for all your SC2ITL news. We'll be back here in 3 minutes' time with what could be the last match, because IvD on match point. Guys, don't go too far. We'll be back here very soon. Solaris needs some lucky fucking numbers right now, don't they? I mean, I don't want to be too blunt about it, but that is the situation we're looking at. Match point here for Apocalypse in an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, the games haven't been one-sided by any stretch of the imagination. I think that last game was the most one-sided game we've seen. The 2 TVZs we saw initially could have gone either way, realistically. The Solaris players were very unlucky to lose both of them. But just great play from Apocalypse. Against Binsky, I mean, mirror builds, Apocalypse finds a way to just do 4 times as much damage with his initial Hellions, and then all of a sudden he's got more Hellions, and he just builds on a lead, and from that situation he is never going to come back. So let's get into game number 4. It's Padre, a Protoss player from Solaris, and hey, Padre is their team captain. He's had an okayish result at the end of last year. He came second in a Zawi NA Cup. So, you know, I think he's a good choice. You know, send out another player of a race. He's team captain for Solaris, and hey, he's Protoss. He could do anything. Okay, yeah, it's a joke. Before everyone starts going, oh, all right. The song. Let me just type the song to you. Little Numbers by Boy. So yeah, let's just get into this game, guys. So it's game number 4. We have a Reaper out, so I'm going to introduce very quickly our red Terran player. In the 6 o'clock position, it's Apocalypse. And in the upper right-hand corner from Solaris, it's Padre, the Protoss player in blue. So, a bit of a rushed introduction. Again, I'm jumping into these games a little bit late because we're running the ads and everything is getting a little bit close. And these players are so eager to play that I don't want to keep them waiting too long. But we haven't had all too much, really take place so far. So yeah, I mean, this Reaper comes in and gets a probe kill, gets deflected to an engineering bay on the way and a second barracks. So pretty standard build from Apocalypse. He's just going to go for 2 racks, play into the factory. He's going to have a fast +1, and we'll see what our Protoss player wants to do. It's going to be our Protoss player who dictates what happens early on here, as this Reaper does get out. There's pylons over here, so Padre adds on a Stargate, surely. Ooh, a Twilight Council. So yeah, I mean, Twilight Council could see loads of this. A robo facility as well, interesting. I wonder if the robo more than anything is just to fake out this Reaper, and if he comes in and scouts a robo, he won't think, there's something weird going on the other side of the map. So that'd be interesting. So a few moments here where not really too much is going to happen as this Reaper does scout around. I don't know who all scored, but I don't know who all killed the first match for IvD. It's amazing that you got back into SC2 because of watching this stream. That's amazing. Scryotechnic, I kind of play, but I don't really have time to play because I run all of the SC2 improved leagues and stuff, so all of my StarCraft time generally goes into running and casting. Okay, Dan just answered this was Gamja who performed the first all kill for IvD, and PokerJoker saying it's amazing the skill difference here with Solaris all kill and then they turn around and get all killed. Well, I mean, to be fair, they've been very unlucky to not be, at least have one map on the table right now, because Guitachis was so close to taking down Apocalypse, so was Jon Snow at certain points of the game. So I feel they've been very unfortunate so far. I feel the 3-0 scoreline really doesn't represent how well they've played here tonight. So anyways, let's go back into this game. I mean, pretty much what we would expect to have happened. The Robo Facility was for Warp Prism, and DT Shrine is about to finish up, or Dark Shrine is about to finish up here. So interesting stuff. I mean, he's going to be safe at the front. He's going to have a photon overcharge. There's not going to be many units in the main base. Now, there has been an engineering bay down, but he never invested in a turret, so this could be a little bit troublesome for Apocalypse. Padre could do some serious damage with this, as the Warp Prism is about to come on into the main. I mean, DT Shrine is done, Dark Shrine is done, so now is the time to go for this. A turret comes up at the front, but not in the main base. He has got nearly a scan available to him. Units coming up into this natural, and he's going to take a bit of damage here. Photon overcharge used. He sees no units. I mean, he doesn't really know if they're in the main base or what. Warp Prism comes in here. He doesn't see it. So there's 3 DTs coming in. These are going to do some major damage. He's just dropped his mules as well, and that means this main base is off limits. That's going to be a dead stim pack. That's going to be a ton of dead stuff. Dead mules, dead SCVs, and now he realizes this. He starts to run away. Stim pack is one of the most essential targets here, I feel. I think Starport is not the right answer. Sending a DT down to the natural makes sense, but I don't understand why you would not get Stim pack. Stim pack is so huge. It puts your Terran player so far behind. Come on, think about this. Come on, Padre, I believe in you. I believe you saw that Stim pack. You know you saw Stim pack. You saw it there. Come on. Yes, he sees it. He's going for it. He's got this. No, he turns around. He doesn't know if his opponent's got a scan. He wants to keep the DTs alive. He doesn't get stim. Oh, he warps in 2 more DTs. This is a little bit crazy. There's the scan. 1 DT down. 2 DTs down. The third gets away. Ooh, a stim comes in. He's going to try and get that Warp Prism. Stim now has finished. These DTs continue to do some pretty major damage here. Nothing really happening back on the Protoss side of things. He's going into charge. He's got a turret up over here. When did that happen? And these DTs do get picked up. So he lost 2 DTs in all of this. 8 worker kills. Killed the factory and the starport. That is... Oh no, he didn't kill the factory. He killed the starport, forced the factory to lift. So he really delays the medevacs. So he's delayed the medevacs, which is good because it gets him a lot of time to get his robo bay up and some splash damage out. Takes a 12 worker lead. I think this turns out pretty well. I mean, I know I was cheering for Stimpack to go down, but I think in the end here, this ends up pretty good for him. 3 DTs come in, that's going to be a scan. I mean, he sees the scan available, and it's kind of silly to commit all 3 DTs and just let them die here. So anyways, yeah, so these units moving away. A few units moving out here for Padre. He's continuing to warp in at the front. I mean, he's just going to... I mean, an attack doesn't really make sense, because I mean he's got a bunch of gateways finishing up. He's moving his mark on, so it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because he's just committed to a Robo Bay. But I mean, he could go for it. I mean, the medevacs are delayed. There's a lot of bio units here. You can see Apocalypse is a little bit scared, and if he meets this army right now, this is almost this is pretty awful. I mean, really, for Padre, he's not ready to fight just yet. That being said, these units are very low on health. The bunker isn't quite ready yet either. The warp prism coming forward. The gateways aren't quite ready just yet either. SCV is being pulled. These two Archons really need to pull back and just stay alive, and they come into the warp prism, which will get chased. Does he commit to this? He starts up a Colossus. His gateway is about to finish up. I don't really know where he goes from here. I mean, it's kind of tough. He really looked as though he wanted to fight. Then he didn't, and I don't think that was necessarily a wrong move. I mean, he definitely didn't want to all in, I guess, because he had a Forge coming up behind this too, so... You know, he's got a follow-up to this, just with the amount of gateways he suddenly went up to. It really looked as though he was looking for a kill move, so... Maybe a little bit of indecision, maybe he just wanted to put on a little bit of pressure, knew he could do a little bit of damage and then get out. In the end, I think it works out okay for him. He didn't lose the Archons. He's going to be able to take a third base and tech behind this if he gets rid of that Marine, so I think he's okay. He's a bit behind in upgrades because it's 1-0 already for Apocalypse because of that early engineering bay. A couple of drops heading towards the main. Now this is where his opponent Padre is going to start really being tested here. He's already got a few units ready to go in position. But, well, let's see how useful they are going to be. A few more units actually continue to warp in here as these units do drop off, and they're going to begin stimming in, going for these gateways. I mean, front overcharge isn't really necessary here. Maybe a bit of a waste. He loses a single gateway. No anti-air to take down the medevacs, of course. A bunch of mines starting to come out as well. I mean, a good response as DTs warp in. Where are the DTs? As drop defense. Intriguing. Medevacs just boost away though. Maybe worth getting... He's going to have to rebuild a Twilight Council if this goes down for his +2, which would be annoying. Hasn't actually invested in a third base yet, so he may have psyched his opponent out with that. You know, I'm pretty sure Apocalypse thinks there's a third base, because he saw with a Marine before that he denied a probe. 2 Colossi, 2 Archons, a bunch of Zealots. It still doesn't make sense to attack because, I mean, +1's so close, yet it's not quite there. You can see he definitely thinks there's a third base here, but there isn't. And when he sees this, he's going to be like, well, good thing I've still got bunkers. He's already starting a third bunker as well, so he knows how important it is to just deal with this attack. No Vikings. First 2 Vikings are about to pop out. In fact, that's his third and fourth Vikings. 2 Vikings are here. I mean, this is kind of really nice. I mean, think about just look at this. The Zealots are choked up going through. The Vikings come out, and there's not really that much anti-air. I mean, it's not every day you see Archons and Sentries being used to kind of deal with the Vikings, and at the same time, this double drop is still out on the map. It's doing some damage over here. This should be a dead base. As a scan comes down to deal with the DT, probes are going to go down. Already a mine in the back, he's got 5 kills. We did miss that going off, so again, apologies. Padre has just been picked apart. Just absolutely, completely picked apart. I mean, I think it was a good start from him, but just too much. He just tried to do too many different things. He tried to, you know, he tried to do this, just none of it worked out in the end. Whoa, this one of mine has 9 kills. What the flip? Well, okay. That's why you don't hire me as an observer, guys. Because you miss all the exciting action. Kaboom. Another couple of probes going down. No probes actually over here to do anything with. I mean, he's going to go one more time into this natural, but, I mean, this SimCity is just so good. Chokes the Zealots up as they come through. You know, really stops any units really getting towards these bunkers. I mean, it's almost impossible to attack into. And when you've got drops over here just basically killing your opponent, like, or just basically killing you at the same time, like, there's just no hope. He's down on 10 workers. That's what, 50 workers killed? 42, wow. Kind of close. Final attack here from Padre. He comes in, but, I mean, the Stalkers can't get in range to get the Vikings. The Colossus died. GG, well played. And that is the all kill for IvD Gaming. I feel like I curse these games. You know, this is my 3rd cast of SC2ITL. Last week I was about to cast Root vs Miraculous Game, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I won't, because I'm too tired. And it wasn't an all kill. But now my 3rd cast of SC2ITL America, and the 3rd all kill. Again, the 4-0 scoreline really does not reflect how Solaris played today. They played fantastically, at least in the first 2 games. I mean, Padre, his build was good, up to a point where I started thinking, you know, does he want to kill him now? Or does he want to rely on something else? You know, does he want to fall back on Colossi and a third base? And then he falls back on Colossi and attacking again, and it gets to that point where you're like, you can only 2-base all in a Terran player up to a certain point, because once they have medevacs out and a certain number of them, and you know, it just gets to the point where it's not going to happen. And that was the point we got to with Padre there. He got to the point where he's still trying to 2-base and he just wasn't going to work. And it was the point where he maybe should have just turned around, took a third, and he wouldn't have been too far behind. Maybe in upgrades, but I mean, Chrono can catch you up with that. You know, it's kind of one of them things where maybe if he plays out, I don't know how, you know, what happens in practice, but it just seems like he was going for such a mix of things. He really needed to say, right, no Robobay, I want my gates a little bit faster, let's kill him now with Archons and Charge Lots. And that could have worked. Could have worked if he'd had them gates a little bit faster. So again, it's unfortunate. I mean, the Binsky game was unfortunate. Apocalypse, mirrored builds, Apocalypse just finds a way to do a little bit more. TVZ is unfortunate as well, really, for Solaris. I mean, both players, Jon Snow and Yatoshi, had a serious chance of doing some damage. Anyways, guys, it is 3:33 a.m. here, 3:34 a.m. here in the UK. So I am off to bed. I would like to thank you all for tuning in. This has been SC2ITL America. I'm Wardy. I run SC2 Improve and stuff. So if you've enjoyed the show tonight, a few things you can do to support us. Hit the follow button on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter at SC2_improve. Check us out on facebook.com/SC2improve. Check out our website at SC2improve.net. Or if you want to see VODs of all the matches, youtube.com/SC2improve. Also, you can do us a massive favour by checking out our sponsors, youtube.com/filthyrig. That is Let's Kung Fu, who's put $500 into the prize pool. And also ZariGear.com, who have put over $500 of products, of Zari Gear products, into the prize pool as well. They make amazing peripherals. You know, I've said before, I use a Zari mouse. Oh, I can't get on screen. I use a come on. Just use a Zari mouse and bungee, one of the coolest looking bungees in esports. And I use Zari Mashu. I use a Zari Solaris, and I can vouch that all of these are absolutely sick to use. So do go check them out if you're looking for some new peripherals. They're amazing supporters. And yeah, Apocalypse, he takes the all kill. So congrats to IvD. 2 all kills in a row. I mean, is anyone going to say that they're not going to make the playoffs? I don't think so. Solaris, again, I feel they've been unlucky today. I feel like they deserved at least a couple of maps, but that's the way it goes. You can come so close in StarCraft, but if you don't make that final push, you're not going to get the victories. Guys, I've been Wardy. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a fantastic night. One last thing, as it says down to the bottom, down that way, the donations, where currently our next, I haven't updated it completely there, I seem to have forgotten. Our next donation goal is $100 away, and it will be an ace player invitational between it'll be like an ace player from each team of the SC2 Improve Team League America, and they'll play in a single elimination, or they'll play in a 1v1 tournament. So that's our next goal, and $100. If you want to check that out, bit.ly/SC2ITLA donate or something. It'll come up on the screen in a couple of seconds again. So guys, thank you again for tuning in. Hit the follow button if you've enjoyed the show. I've been Wardy. This has been SC2ITL America. If you want to support us, stick around for a few minutes while I run a few ads after the show, and all the ad revenue goes towards more tournaments, so it does help a lot if you stick around for just a couple of minutes. So leave us on in the background while you go get a drink. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great night. I've been Wardy, and this was SC2ITL America. Once again, congrats to IvD Gaming for their second all kill in a row.